wanted to share what I was working on. And then I ran out of label tape, which I'll talk about. So I had these in the little magazine rack files with all the different labels. I've got like 2 or 3 different versions of labels on the top, and they were stacked, you know, in a magazine file, so they were easy to access. Well, I switched my paper from this cube here to this file style plastic bin thing we've had forever. So I've got my cardstock in here. I left the labels on because I'm going to have to switch them around, but I wanted to make sure I knew what colors were which. I've got these hanging files that I can put in here. They're just gray ones, and this one doesn't have anything in it, so it's like moving around right now. So I've got some gray hanging files, and then I also have these files to put the actual paper in for most colors. And these hanging files actually came with labels, so I will label some of them, you know, the main ones I'll have up front that I use a lot, and then I will just work through these and label each one on a folder here. So each color will have a little section, and I will label it with my little brother labeler that I have. And I just went to print the first one for the, what is it? There you go. The Paper Tray Ink White, which is my favorite white for Copics. They call it Stampers Select White, or at least they used to. I've got bunches of it, and then I ran out of tape. So I ordered more tape. It'll be here tomorrow, and I'll finish my project up. I thought for now I would just work on going ahead and putting the paper physically in these with the little cover label sheet that I have, and then I can make the actual labels at another point in time. And then I've got all my extra cardstock down here. I've got, you know, extra packs of some of my favorite colors that I love using. Some of these are retired Stampin' Up! Colors. I've got a big thing of craft paper because that's a color that I'll use a lot. And then all of this white is Stampers Select White. I just bought a ton of it at once. And then I've got the magazine files. These are just cardboard ones. You can pick these up at any kind of like office supply store. I bought a pack of these and then Mod Podged some colored paper on the front. It's just a pattern paper I liked. So I've had these for years and years. And I thought I would switch it up since I have this great little way to organize it. And when I have to pull paper out of these, I have to pull them off of my shelf. And it's not as easy as just, you know, opening this right here where I'm sitting. This is where I craft. And so I can just, you know, go into whatever file, pull out the paper, not have to get up, not have to move things off the shelf. I thought this would be a much more efficient way to do this. So I'm going to work on just getting it organized. As far as everything else, I've got my station here, and I'll tweak this as I actually get in here and craft. Right now I'm just working on the organization and unpacking. I finally unpacked the last box. And then I've got a Big Shot station down here because Olivia loves playing with that, so she asks to come in here and play that together. And then I've got my beautiful view. I didn't realize we'd have a tree that blooms right there, which is gorgeous. And so that's pretty much it. I've worked on organizing. I'll have a full tour for you guys at some point. This is just, you know, sneak peek plus cardstock organization. I've made a decision here. I did not like the way the hanging files with the file folders looks, because I have to like dig through to find any colors. When I was putting my main favorite colors here, I've got the Stampers Select White, the, I don't know what it's called, rustic cream or vintage cream. It's the confetti looking cream paper that Paper Tray Ink sells. And also just some craft. Those are just some main colors I like. When I put them in here, I thought, wow, they look nice and clean. I can easily see them. And then when I started doing these ones, I was like, wow, this looks like a giant jumbled mess, and I really don't like the way it looks. So I made the decision to just go ahead and put everything in a hanging file like this. And what I thought I could do with that, I could try, you know, trimming just the tab part down and having the dividers in each section, because when I only have, you know, like a couple of sheets of a color, I do not need it in its own hanging folder like these. I do still want them in these folders. So I'm going to try to make it so these maybe are shorter. And if that doesn't work, I'm just going to totally give up on that and put everything in its own hanging file, because I really like the way it looks. Just being able to, you know, flip through, see the colors really easily like that. The reason I wanted to use these in the first place was because I have them. I have 100 of these, or what's left of after I sorted our, family finance papers and stuff. And then I only have 25 of these. And of course, I've used some of these already. And so if I just use the hanging files, I will have to order more because I'm going to need more than, the 20 or so that are left in there after I redid our house paperwork. So I was just hoping to use what I have. And this is just too much tabs and different heights and things. I'm going to see if I can regulate that a little bit better. All right, I trimmed a few of these. I cut 2 of the little notches off the bottom. And then that'll be recycled, and then I just have the tab left. So these front ones are the ones that are just in the hanging file, and then I have a section here where I chopped them like I showed you at that second notch, and then I can flip through. That paper actually blends in with these gray things, so it's much easier when they're all about the same height and there's not the bulk of, both sides of the folder. One thing with these folders is they are so much taller than the cardstock. You can see that, so they stick out above the hanging files, which I did not want. I didn't like the look of that at all. And now they're kind of tucked in, and I can flip through and find the colors I want. So I'm gonna, I guess, make some decisions on how I want to have this organized before I get my label paper. Because I don't know, I'm not really loving this. I really do like the look of this, where I can just have, the bigger sections of the papers that I really like and tend to gravitate towards. I think I'm leaning towards that. This is kind of a weird angle under my desk, but I've got the 2 units under here. I've documented along the way, like how I came about organizing them. I ended up using my label maker that I got off Amazon, and they had an awesome Black Friday deal, either last Black Friday or the Black Friday before. Here's all my junk stash here and my extra stuff. So I have the label maker in there, and I love it. It has lots of different settings and things, and I just had picked up more of the label tape for it. I've got all that in here, and I used a bunch of it to get these labeled. I have these kind of in a rainbow order, but I have my most used basics and neutrals in the front. So I've got the PTI white, paper tray ink white. I like theirs for Copic coloring especially, but it's a really nice thick white cardstock. And then I also have their rustic cream cardstock, which is also a beautiful neutral. Just got the little flecks or specks in it, and it's nice and thick as well. It's great for a card base. And I've got craft, and then I go into the actual colors. I also have the Whisper White here. I don't have much of that left, but that's great for stamping. That's the Stampin' Up! White. And I've got some off-white colors, and you can see, here's where I stick things that I only have a couple of sheets of, or it's really old, you can't get the colors anymore. So I just stick them all in the same thing. I've got one for blue as well. You can see all the blues are in there. And then each color that I really like, or I can still get, or if I still had a lot of the color, I labeled it. So Stampin' Up! Basic Black. I can get more, whatever their black ends up being if they change the name or whatever. They'll always have a nice black to use. So I've got a label for that. I put SU for Stampin' Up! And then PTI for Paper Tray Ink. Those are just the 2 paper companies I tend to stick with. And then I've got a little bit of paper up front here. I just had a couple of these. I don't know what color this was, but it's a really nice deep dark red. I thought I'd use that for Christmas cards. And it's the only thing that's really out of order right now. So these are actually in hanging files. I decided to go against using just the regular file folders because I have these really pretty ones, and they fit the paper really well. I got these off Amazon. I like the gray color, but they have lots of different colors of those, and they did already come with these tabs. So it was great to already have the little tabs, and all I had to do was label them. Now at some point I am going to punch a piece of each color and put it on here so that I can see the colors and grab them easily, but for now I just finally got them all organized and labeled. It took me quite a while to just get that much done. I'm doing things in really small spurts and small increments, but it took me quite a while to do this, and I ended up running out of folders and having to get more folders, and I did have to order these, so it took a while, and I'm just glad with how it looks now. So as far as my color thing here, I've got the ones I use the most, the neutrals and basics, then I work into the blues, and the only bad thing about this system is some of them are way in the back there. You got the teals and turquoise colors back there. I wanted all the aqua and teal stuff on top because I use those a lot when I'm card making. And then down here I'm just moving into more. I've got more of the the packs here. I've got a big giant pack of craft cardstock, and that one is from Paper Tray Ink. They sell theirs in really good cheap packs. And then I move into the green, and I have this one labeled light green, but I ended up putting all of my extra greens in there. can see I've got a giant, a giant chunk of various greens that I'm not necessarily going to replenish, and I only have a few of each one, so I didn't want to make a whole folder for them. But then I have colors like this, like pistachio pudding. I have a whole pack of that, so I wanted to make a folder for that because I'll have that color for a while, and it's a really beautiful color. Same with this one. This one's a very, very old retired one. I don't think they brought a bunch of colors back, but I don't know if this was one of them. Kiwi Kiss, I still have one big pack of that. And then I just have one file for yellow because I'll just get whatever basic yellow when I run out of yellow. If I ever run out, you can see like it's humongous. And same with orange. I don't have like a specific orange that's my favorite aside from the pumpkin pie, which I don't know that they even make that one anymore. I haven't been up to date in a long time. I've got all these different oranges and burnt oranges and things. Some corals are also in there. I can just flip through and find what I want. And then pinks, I have lots of different pinks. One of my favorite ones of all time is the Pretty in Pink from Stampin' Up. So I've still got bunches of that. When they went to retire that one, again, they like have switched up colors. So I don't know if it ever came back or anything, but they went to retire that one and I got bunches of packs of that. I also really like the Melon Mambo color. It's a nice bright pink. And then I have a folder just for purple. And again, I don't have a whole lot of purples that I really like, so I kept that in there. And then reds are back here. I just have a few basic reds, more like a Christmas primary red, and then the cherry cobbler, which is the deeper red, which is really beautiful. And then in the very back, I've got tons and tons more of the white. And I did keep the magazine file back here just to kind of keep all of the folders pushed up, but I've got lots of white for years and years. So I can do lots of Copic stamping and lots of card making with that. I use that to map photos here and there as well, so that'll come in handy at some point. But there is what my cardstock looks like. I did take a bunch of this out, and you'll see it in my scrap room tour video. I ended up cutting the papers down so that they can go with my Big Shot in my die cutting section, so Livy can use some of those papers. I only kept colors that I really liked and enjoyed. Any colors that looked old and outdated to me, I just put them in her pile so that she can use them. But I really, really like this. I've got folders in both, so I can just flip through and find what I want because I know just the neutrals and the blues are in the top and then everything else is in the bottom. So it's easy for me to just grab it. It is right under my desk and this is where I sit, so it's easily accessible. And I have made a few cards for little birthdays for her school and also neighbor cards. So I know that it's easy to do everything right here with the paper in easy reach. And I like it a whole lot better being able to just open this up, flip through, grab what I want. I don't have to take the big giant magazine rack off of the shelf like I do with the 12 by 12. You can see the magazine racks are back there. I'd have to take the whole chunk off of the shelf, put it down, and then pull out what paper I want and then put it back. Now it's just a really easy grab and go process, and it'll be much easier to find what I want once I get the little paper pieces on the tab so that I can see what colors they are without having to read them necessarily. So I hope you guys liked this organization. It's not a new or novel idea. I've seen people put their paper in files over and over again, and I finally decided to just convert to it and give myself some more shelf space and also take advantage of this big giant thing that's been in our closet just holding various extra storage things. I finally decided to utilize it as the file box, and it works really well so far, so I really like it. So my next video for you guys is going to be my scrap room tour. I have already filmed that, but I wanted to have this video completed first. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Give me a thumbs up and be subscribed so you can watch for that scrapbook video and know when it pops up, and I will catch you next time. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.